Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. And today we're going to do something different and very customized and unique. And I found this Heritage 22 revolver single action Wild Bill Hickok edition, and just happened to go into a small town gun shop, and there it was behind the counter. And I collect Western stuff, and it's got the engraved spade, clubs, diamonds on the cylinder. It's got the engraved grips with Wild Bill Hickok and the dead man's hand. It's pretty nice. So I thought I need to pick that up, and I need to make a custom holster for that. So I was thinking about what I wanted to do. Here's why I make patterns and don't get rid of them. I got into my pattern box and found my small frame 22 revolver pattern for the holster. So I just pulled it out, traced it, cut it out, and I've got my holster blank right here. So I didn't have to waste any more time measuring the gun or making a new pattern or any of that. Took maybe 2 or 3 minutes to trace it, cut it out. It's even beveled already. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take this holster and attempt to laser engrave a photo image of Wild Bill Hickok and the dead man's hand on the holster itself. So the idea is to put it right here in this area, and then I want to do some decorative stamping around that and make that pop. So not just a plain photograph engraved on there. So that's what we're going to do today, and then we'll move on from there. So come on in and let's get started. Alright, the first thing I want to do is I've done some testing on this as far as speeds and depth of my laser and contrast, how bright I want it to be. So I did that on some scrap, and I think I've got my image or my laser set up for this image pretty good. Now I've also done some tests on this laser with this veg tan leather, and it really likes when the leather is cased. It gives me a much sharper image than just using it dry, and believe it or not, I don't know, this probably makes sense if you think about it, but it keeps the smell down. It keeps that, because you can imagine leather is basically skin, and you can imagine what that laser burning on that skin smells like. If you case your leather down, it seems to really hold that smell, that burning smell down. So I do not have a fan blower on my laser. That's something that I might get down the road the more I use it. But casing this not only will keep that nice and moist, keep that from burning, but it'll also make it lay much flatter. So this is where I want my image, so I'm going to come over to the engraver and set that up. Alright, so I'm going to come in from this side, from the top, make sure that I've got this leather nice and flat. That's a key. And then I did make sure that I had, I checked the height of the laser from the leather up to the laser itself. Now this will go from here, and 20 is my center, so it will go this direction over and then start moving up. So if I measure the test image that I did, it's 2.5 inches. So I want to make sure I have plenty of room from there on up, which I do. And it is kind of an oval image. So I get this set, then I can come over and send my JPEG image on my laser engraving software and send it to the machine. Now that beeping is just a warning to make sure you have on your safety glasses. And then it sends the file to the laser. It begins engraving. And again, what I've found on this is to do it on scraps first, so that you know exactly where the image is going to start when you send the file over, and you know exactly what the image is going to look like on that leather when it's done. So it looks like it's about halfway through already. So you can control the speed of this. And I did make a couple of adjustments on that also, just to get the sharpest image possible. So I want it up fairly high. Hope I didn't get it too high. It's over halfway, so it should start, the circle or the oval should start getting smaller at the top. It's going to be close to the top edge over on the left hand side. Okay, and now it's finishing. You can see how much quicker it's going because the lines are getting shorter, and then it dings when it's done. So I can take my safety glasses off now, and this gives you an idea how that turned out. So it's a pretty detailed image as far as a photo. You could definitely see the gun, the badge, the aces and the eights, and then the detail in Wild Bill's face, his mustache. So it does a really good job. And this is just a 5-watt laser. It's not a real expensive laser. I picked it up off of Amazon. So there's several of them on there to choose from. So I'll fold this over, see what we've got, and that's what it would look like. So now, instead of just leaving that plain like that, I want to go ahead and do some decorative stamping too. Casing that leather or moistening that down really cuts down on the smell of the burning. So what I want to do is take me a grooving tool real quick. I want to make me a groove for my stitching, and also that will give me a guide not only for my stitching holes but also for my decorative stamping. And this leather is still cased, it's still moist, so it should stamp really good. So I'm going to pop up my piece of granite. And I'm going to do a small veining stamp, and I'm going to do a seating stamp. And I'm just going to follow that stitching line that I just put in there with the grooving tool. So there is my veiner that goes down that groove that I put in there, and then I'll come back and use my seating punch, put one right in between each one of those where those veins meet one another. You can see already, if I can get that, there you go, you can see already it's making a huge difference instead of it just being plain. And then I'm going to do the same thing around the image. Now this is probably going to be a little more difficult, but I'm going to try to actually capture that image with this veining tool. And I think you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. By capturing, I mean not having any blank leather outside of my stamp. I want to try to capture all that within my veining tool and my seating tool. And I think what that'll do is that'll sharpen that up real nice. And that'll bring all that together. as I come around back to the start where I started, I'll watch real closely and make sure I might have to fudge one way or the other a little bit to make sure those all meet up. So you can see how that encapsulated that image around there. Then I'll come back with my seating tool and put one again right where those meet, and that'll lock all that visually, lock it together. So if they crossed over just a hair, that's going to take care of that. You'll see that here in just a second. So you won't see where those overlapped at all, because there will be a seating stamp or a seed stamp. So there you go. So now it's all locked together in between with the seating stamp. It looks real nice. Turned out great. Good sharp image. And then here you might think, well, it's awful high. Well, across here I'll have a strap that'll hold this when I put this down. So that'll hold, a strap will come across here, and I'll probably go ahead and put some veining and seating on it too to tie all that together. So when we come back, I'll have that strap, and we'll go ahead and I'll have it dyed, and or I may dye it on the next video and then stitch it up and finish it then. But I think I'll have the strap done. So let's go ahead and take a look right now at some material for the strap. Alright, so I found a piece of scrap. I cut the strap, I believe, right at a 1/2 inch wide. It's exactly a 1/2 inch. And I cut my slots in the back, and I can push that right through that slot. Let's go this way. I've already got part of my Chicago screw. That's what I'm going to use to attach it with. So let's just go from the back here. And get it through there. Pull that through that slot on that side. And that is a snug fit. And then I'll go through this side from the front, and I can go ahead and put my Chicago screw in there. And that'll hold that snug while we take a look at it and see exactly where I'm gonna put my stamping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little stylus, and I'm just going to put a tiny little dot on each side where that comes through that slot, because I don't want any stamping on the back. So that'll tell me where to keep my stamping. And I notice when I put this on there, that does make this pretty high, but I think it's going to really change when you slide that revolver in there. It's really going to change the look of that. So we'll wait, we'll see what it looks like. I'll take my Chicago screw back out, take my strap back out, set the holster aside, remove this half of the Chicago screw, and then I haven't cased this, so I'll take a little bit of tap water, case that strap. I'll move this out of the way and put my granite back up. So in order to keep with that same stamping theme that we have here and around the image, we'll go ahead and use that small veining tool and the seating tool, and I've got my marks on here. And I'll just put it end to end. Continue with my veining tool. Then pick up my seating tool. And do that where the veining tool met. Just like I did on the groove line and around the image. So there's the decorative stamping that'll go around here, and hopefully you could see how that's going to tie all that together. If I can figure out which way to move, there we go. So you can see how that's going to tie all that together. Alright, so I've got the holster, I've got the laser engraving done, I've got the stamping done, the stamping around the image, then the strap, the hold down strap, and the stamping on the strap. So that's the end of this video because I don't want it to be so long. Come back on the next video and we'll go ahead and dye it. We'll pick out a dye color, see what that looks like once we dye that image. So we probably don't want to go super dark. So we'll see what kind of dye we pick out, and then we'll go ahead and stitch it up and put the strap on, and it'll be done. So that'll be the next video. Come back next week, check that out, and we'll wrap this project up. Appreciate you coming along and watching, and as I always say, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.